Hello and welcome to I Can't Believe This Got Greenlit, a show where we discuss movies from our childhood, our nostalgia from watching them as kids, how they got made, and our experiences rewatching them as adults. I'm one of your hosts, Nick Warner, and sitting across from me, as always, the wonderful Matthew Pelton.
Hi! That was so aggressive. Hello.
Hello.
How are you
How's
doing?
It going? So today, we are talking about a lovely film.
That's a word for it, yeah.
So we're talking about the 2011 half animated,
Half live action
cult classic masterpiece, Illumination's very own Hop.
Now, as you know, the show works where every week me and Nick rotate which movie is picked.
Correct.
So you were first week, you were Shark Boy Lava Girl.
Yes.
And then, unfortunately, I was second week, which was The Boy Who Cried Werewolf.
Yeah.
Now, we have some bad news for those who did listen to that episode, because that was a lot of fun. But unfortunately, we did kind of mess up the recording of episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
So The Boy Who Cried Werewolf is just forever lost now.
It's the lost episode.
It's the
famous
lost episode. Yeah. It'll go down in history as hopefully the one and only lost episode.
Right.
So because of that, Nick felt bad. He's like, hey, you can pick the movie again.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, thank you, sir. It was very kind. So I chose Hop.
Yeah, because we were supposed to have a guest this week.
Yeah.
But now it's next week. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. But yeah, so Hop. So this is an Illumination film, which for some reason I didn't put two and two together that it was Illumination. This is the company that did Minions.
Yeah, because it's like early Illumination.
All that stuff. I think it's am I mistaken to say it's the second Illumination film?
Yeah, I think
After
it's right.
Despicable Me?
Movie was first, and this was second.
Which is so wild. Because like all of the promotion for this film was done with the Minions. I don't know if you saw any of that. Yeah, all the commercials, they were just like coming in with their
Despicable Me was already such a big hit at that point.
Right.
Even like when the movie first starts and you have like the studio logos, the Illumination's already the Minions.
Which to me, like, that doesn't make sense, right?
Because
like
the
I feel like
first
it's like a
movie-
recent thing of like, oh, they're promoting them with the Minions, but now,
That is true, because if it's only their second movie, there's a 2-year difference?
yeah, that's like if every single like Disney movie used like the Seven Dwarfs to promote it.
That's like if right after like Toy Story, every Pixar movie was like, Buzz Lightyear loves this film.
Buzz Lightyear's, he tells you to go watch it.
They knew. I don't remember the Minions catching on that quickly, but I guess I guess they did. I think we were wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so do you wanna start by giving us the little story of your childhood viewing of this?
This was bizarre because it's one of those where Boy Who Cried Werewolf I was obsessed with.
Mm-hmm.
A little more than Hop, but I was still very obsessed with Hop.
Right.
So
and no one's gonna know your obsession with Boy Who Cried Werewolf. Sorry, guys.
Unless like the 3 people that listen to it.
Yeah.
So with Hop, I was obsessed as a kid. And I knew, because I'd grown up with like music with my dad. Like my dad showed us good music. It wasn't just like, whatever was popular at the time. So we grew up with like U2, the Beatles.
Right.
And I was very into music. And at that point, it was no movies yet.
Mm.
So when that movie came out, and this little rabbit that wants to be a drummer the whole time, I'm like, oh, I want to be a drummer too.
And I want to be the Easter Bunny.
So like, again, all of a sudden, I just became obsessed with the drums. And I got like this little like fake drum kit that if you tap your fingers on it, it'd make drum noises. I told everyone, I was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? A drummer. And also a bunny, but mostly a drummer.
Yeah, I was going to say, I went around my second grade classroom and was like,
Drummer?
no,
Easter
I want to
Bunny?
be the Easter Bunny.
I did like the fake teeth and the ears.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, look who I am. So
I ate carrots exclusively for lunch. Sorry, go ahead.
So I was obsessed. And then I have a weird memory, and I tried to call my stepfather, and he didn't pick up, unfortunately. But I have a weird memory of going to Universal, like the amusement park.
Oh,
yeah, your favorite.
it's my place.
Yeah. Around the time that Hop came out,
Okay.
so there was like Hop stuff.
Oh.
Like I think like EB was walking around, and you could
Are you
meet him.
serious?
Yeah, it was so cool.
Oh my God.
I were getting like a little like Hop coloring book.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't shut up about this
Yeah.
stupid movie. So as a kid, this left a big impression. Hop was like my film.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. So for me, I actually, funny enough, I have 2 stories.
Okay.
Because when I was trying to figure out my memory of it, because it rings true in my head of like, this was a staple of my childhood.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Oh, yeah.
naturally. That's why it's on the show. But when I was trying to dissect like what context I saw it in, I was like, you know what? I'll go ask my mom, my brother, anyone I could find that would maybe know.
Yeah, that was around.
Yeah, that would remember what my viewing of this was.
Okay.
And so my memory before asking them was I saw it in theaters.
Oh.
I saw it in theaters. I was 9 years old because it's 2011.
2011.
And I saw it in theaters. I remember it being on the big screen, and I remember distinctly. This is the one vivid memory I have.
Okay.
I remember distinctly the credits song.
Yeah, I want candy.
I want candy, and I just remember jamming to getting up and dancing, just shaking my butt to this thing all the way down the steps of an AMC. Right?
He's actually still banned from the AMC to this day.
Yeah, it was a
got a picture of him on the wall.
Yep, little 9-year-old Nick. But yeah, so I distinctly remember that, and I asked my mom and my brother Zach. Hi Zach.
Hi Zach.
And my mom was like, they started talking, and they were like, no, we never saw it in theaters. And I was like, where did this memory come
You just make that up?
Yeah, so my brother was like, we got it on DVD, and we played it similar to Shark Boy and Lava Girl on the little portable TVs on the way to Pittsburgh for Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever it was.
A road trip kind of thing.
Like a road trip. We had the little portable TVs, and we would throw in the $1.50 DVDs from Kmart or whatever. And we toss them in, watch them, have a good time. So apparently that we used to watch it all the time then, and also when we went camping, and because we had a little TV in the camper, and all of this stuff, and I never remembered that at all. I don't remember that whatsoever.
So you have a memory of seeing it in theaters, but your family swears.
No recollection of seeing it on DVD, and yet my brother and my mom were like, no, we watched this at home exclusively. We never saw it in theaters.
Which is bizarre.
So I'm convinced that was my brother and my mom's viewing experience, and I saw it with my grandparents.
Oh,
and they took me to the theater in Ansonia, in Connecticut. So I'm like, to this day, I'm like, I remember those credits rolling on that big screen.
So you're convinced you saw it in the theater?
Yeah.
Because I don't think I did. Now that you say that I watched it at home, I think I also had a DVD copy of it.
Luckily, no 3D.
Thank God. Hop in 3D. Let's make it happen.
That'd be awesome. But yeah, so that was my experience with it. I have that vivid memory, which I could very easily be making up.
Probably.
But I know that I've seen it at least 5 times.
Oh, minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have to admit, when I was younger, I used to love this movie. Same reason as you. I love the music. I love the Easter Bunny thing. And I think eventually we got I don't know at what point in my life this happened, but my family we got a drum kit in my basement.
Did you really?
I don't know if this was at all influenced by Hop, but for the sake of the story, it was influenced by Hop.
100%.
We got a drum kit. To this day, still don't know how to play drums.
Yep.
Never got lessons, never tried. I was
will
say, this is a cool looking thing.
Exactly. I begged my parents for 4 years for a drum kit. Yeah. I never got it. And to this day, I got my little tap thing, and then I took drum lessons. I don't know how to play the drums. I don't know a single thing about it.
I tried to self-teach with the drum kit.
Yeah.
On YouTube when I was 15. I was like, these have been sitting around for a while. Let me try this.
Might as well.
I got the basic filler stuff. Not filler stuff. Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
The basic stuff. And then literally as I was learning fillers, I was like, I am not smart enough for this, and I fully gave up.
That's awesome.
So I was like, I don't have any rhythm. I'll just stick to making movies.
I have one drum experience where I was trying to learn I was trying to learn drums because of Hop. And I was trying to learn an Oasis song. Because at this point, my Oasis obsession was full swing.
Right.
So I was like, listen, I'll learn Supersonic, which I looked up the easiest one to play. That was number one. Listen, a kid could play this without any lessons. So I went to go play it, and I got the don't. And the second you went to go change to any other part of the drum kit, I went, nope, and just quit. Couldn't do it.
So you had one part fully down.
I can still do it to this day. Give me a drum kit. Awesome. I could do the first 30 seconds.
That's amazing. So, okay, so Hop.
Right, sorry.
No, it's okay. So it's the only Illumination film to mix live action and CG.
Yeah.
Which I find fascinating because those movies like Who Framed Roger Rabbit or those types of movies are always interesting because, the CGI or the animation or whatever they do to get the characters in the live action element is always interesting because they're either really good or they're horrendous.
Yeah.
This one, I'll give it to them, was fantastic. I thought it was pretty seamless.
I think for the
CGI.
It was interesting because I think with all the CG in the real world, it still holds up surprisingly. But then when we'll get into the plot later.
Yeah.
But when the main guy goes into the CG world,
kind
of loses it.
Yeah. I think I was more referring to when EB is in.
Yeah, it looks
the
pretty
real
good.
world. I thought it looked pretty
because
good.
you have stuff like the Smurfs
Right.
and like Sonic are both kind of
Yeah.
two good examples. Sonic looks pretty good, but Smurfs is a little rough.
Well, Sonic after the
After they fixed
backlash.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Hop's defense, it does hold
Right.
up well.
especially for 2011. The animation at that time wasn't.
That's
I mean,
true.
not the best. I mean, this is post Avatar at this point, so it's not
That's
like there
true.
is a standard.
Yeah.
But for an Illumination film that exclusively, I mean, they only had one movie under their belt, and it was the legendary Despicable Me.
All right, legendary is
So-
a strong word.
Well, I mean, box office wise, like
Oh,
this is
fair,
a smash
fair.
hit.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this is like a Frozen level
Yes.
box office.
At this
smash.
point, they were still like a well-liked, I guess, company.
Yeah. So, directed by the one and only Tim Hill.
Yeah, gotta love them.
Which, for those of you out there who don't know who Tim Hill is, he's the director of Alvin and the Chipmunks.
I didn't know that,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah. So when I was watching this, I had this thought, like this, it was just like a passing thought.
Okay.
And I was like, man, this is like a worse version of Alvin and the Chipmunks. And then I kind of thought about it more, and I was like, this might be a better version of Alvin and the Chipmunks.
It's a much better
And
version.
then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, this is the same. It's the same thing as like the Spy Kids, Shark Boy. And
yeah,
Lava
it's just
Girl.
his niche. Like,
It's just the same looking thing, and they just do it again.
do the same thing.
Yeah. So this is his film.
So he has a habit of doing stuff like
right.
this. Yeah.
And other credits that he has, he's also the director for Muppets from Space.
really?
Yeah, didn't know that. And then both of the SpongeBob movies.
What?
Yeah, Sponge Out of Water and the original one.
Now, aren't those well received? Like,
Yeah.
people really like those.
Yeah, all of them.
Huh.
Yeah.
So what happened?
I don't know. Well, so I guess let's get into the budget. So again, Illumination, they had Despicable Me come out,
Yeah.
which I don't exactly remember the year. Is it 2010?
I can look
think
it
it was
believe
like
it's
the year
2010
before.
or something
But
like
anyway,
that.
so they had Despicable Me come out. It was a box office success. It made a ton of money. It's an icon of the parks, the studio, everything.
Yeah, it's 2010, by the way.
2010. Okay, so the year before.
Yep.
And so they used that money, or I guess I don't know where the money came from, but they were established and they had a budget for this movie of $63 million.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a lot for a budget.
Yeah.
At least for this kind of like, it seems like it's a low level film. Do you know what I mean?
It doesn't come across like what was it? You said 68?
63.
63? It
Yeah.
does not come across as 63
Right.
million.
It grossed, because remember we talked about last episode, or I guess 2 episodes ago.
Oh, yeah, rest in peace, Boy Cried Werewolf.
Yeah. Shark Boy and Lava Girl episode. The rule of thumb is if you double the budget, you pretty much make all your money back.
Yep. Yeah,
That's
for
breaking
marketing.
even.
Yeah.
So this movie made $184 million on a $63 million budget. So it grossed a
Yeah.
fair amount.
It turned a profit.
But the fun fact that I found was that it's the lowest grossing film from Illumination in history to this day.
Really?
This is including The Grinch.
I was about to say, 'cause the
animated
Grinch did not
yeah.
do well either.
No. I'm fairly certain that this is the lowest grossing Illumination
Which
film.
is probably why they never
stop.
did a live action animated thing again. Because
Right.
they did it this one time. The reviews
Right.
weren't great. And sure, if they didn't make a lot of money,
No.
shut it down.
Yeah. Well, they made a good amount of money, but because Illumination is such a staple,
yeah.
it's like, I don't know. And I feel like, again, as a kid, I feel like everyone knew what this movie was. And
Well, yeah, that's the weird thing. Because
about all these movies that we're
yeah,
talking about.
because not only did I remember Hop was pretty popular amongst like kids my age. When I say to like just people in my college life, like, hey, what movie are you doing for the radio show this week? I'm like, oh, Hop. Everyone knows it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like the cinematic masterpiece?
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, that
Yeah.
one. So it's weird to think that this didn't, I mean, it turned a profit, but not a lot.
Right. And I'm convinced that a lot of it has to do with it wasn't received critically well, like in
Yeah, that's
theaters.
true.
And then by the time it hit DVD, like it was still a big like DVD era,
Mhm.
like DVD, Blu-ray, et cetera, et cetera. Everyone wanted like a hard copy of their films.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the reason why our generation kind of knows it is a lot of our parents were just like, you know what? Let's go get this movie. It's a fun Easter movie. They released it on DVD. Let's watch it.
Might
It's
as
fun and
well,
lighthearted
yeah.
and whatever. And you got it. And now everyone knows about it.
Well, they're probably like your parents. Throw it on the car on these long drives.
And you got like, it's like the era of like the SUV with like the
exactly
drop
yeah,
down,
with the
like,
drop down
the little
TVs.
TV. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting thing that will probably be a recurring theme on the show of low grossing box office, but still rings true
Yeah,
in
they're
a
like
lot
these-
of our minds.
Yeah, they're these little almost like
So-
sleeper hits amongst kids our
Exactly.
age.
Right. So I have a note here. That's, basically, CGI is pretty good.
Yeah.
Right? We noted that. And all things considered, it was done by one company primarily. So not like the 11 of
From Shark Boy.
Yeah. And the main guy who did the CGI on this did almost all of the character design for Ice Age.
Oh,
which, by the way, it's a good
that makes
episode
sense.
for us.
Oh, Ice Age is coming.
Yeah.
That's on my list.
But yeah, so he did a lot of the designs for Ice Age, and then he came on and did most of the CGI work for this, which is interesting.
Yeah, which makes sense if you think about it. Because Ice Age still is one, again, holds up pretty well.
Mm-hmm. And so another thing about this movie is it had a video game release for the DS that got released with the movie.
Yeah, it did.
Which is interesting. They had a Doodle Jump crossover. Do you remember that game?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my God, I played that.
Do you remember the crossover?
Yeah, I do. I had the
So
DS game and the cross. Oh, it used to unlock so many memories.
And they had a Build-A-Bear EB available.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And I remember wanting it.
Right.
And I never got it.
I never even really knew like the premise of Build-A-Bear until I was like 15.
What?
So I just
took
never
so long?
Like I knew the premise, but I never bothered with it because I was like, I don't want to go in there.
Oh,
That's
that
too
was
much
my
of a
jam.
hassle. Yeah.
That's still my jam. That thing's awesome.
A couple more interesting facts I found about the movie is that so the voice of EB ultimately went to Russell Brand.
Yes, famously.
But a couple other people that they were considering for the role, James Corden.
Oh, that would have been the worst.
which I think is funny because some years down the road, he voices another rabbit in a live action animated film.
Oh my God,
it's like
he
the
does.
Peter
Yeah,
Rabbit.
he does Peter Rabbit.
Yeah.
He also went on to play Cat.
Right. In that movie that I definitely didn't forget existed.
That will probably eventually make it on the show.
Yeah, probably. Daniel Radcliffe.
Really? For EB?
Mm-hmm.
Now, by considering, do you know if that means they actually like offered it to him or they were just like, hey, he would be good for this role?
I feel like it's a, hey, I feel like he would be good for this role.
Okay.
And then they reached out to his agents and they were like, no,
Absolutely
he's preparing for a movie, a role in a Weird Al Yankovic biopic in 12 years.
Yeah, it'll come out eventually, we promise. Because also Daniel Radcliffe, trying to picture him as EB is bizarre. Because post Harry Potter, he's done all these weird indie things that like you can tell he just picks projects he loves.
Right.
So I love the idea of him reading Hop from Illumination.
Right.
Like, this is my next one. This is how I follow Deathly Hallows.
That's awesome. And then David Tennant.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
They really like the accent thing, don't
Famous
they?
Doctor. Well, yeah, it's a British thing.
It's definitely a British thing.
Yeah, and then upwards of 92 different product placements throughout the movie exist.
Some of them are very noticeable.
Very noticeable, including the likes of Holiday Inn, Krispy Kreme, Hallmark, Build-A-Bear, Burger King. The list goes on and on and on and on
It's
and on and on
crazy.
and on and on.
And you feel it when you watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, so those are a couple fun facts. I guess we can jump into the plot.
Yeah, this bizarre and
strange,
crazy plot.
Although I will say it's more straightforward than the other two movies we've watched, in my opinion.
I guess that is true. The other two are also bizarre.
They are bizarre. I mean, all of them are bizarre, but as far as bizarreness goes, I feel like this one's pretty much like he wants to be a drummer. He goes to the real world. This guy's like a deadbeat, and he needs something. They find each other, and they give each other what they need. All is well.
That's true. I will say, like, in watching this now, you know, it's an hour and a half movie. It took me 3.5 hours to get through. But the premise, I think, is actually really strong. And it's kind of heartbreaking because I feel like they didn't live up to it. But when you think of like Santa or even like Halloween, those have more like black and white, cutthroat. Hey, here's what these are. You know what I mean? Hey, he's got a sleigh and he delivers gifts. But for Easter, that's kind of up in the air. Like Easter Bunny is the only set thing, and like eggs. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the idea of like, hey, let's break down the lore of like the Easter Bunny.
I was gonna bring this up.
It's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because there are few and far between as far as Easter movies, like just
For
proper.
sure. Yeah.
And then you get into the whole like Santa thing. You have 100 million different versions of the lore of Santa, who he is, what his deal is.
Yeah. Like you are just born knowing that.
Yeah, exactly. But as far as Easter goes, you're kind of just like, oh, I don't know. I wake up, I eat some chocolate, and there's like a bunny that like poops in a basket and gives it to me. I don't really. What's the
going
deal?
on?
Yeah. And like, does he have friends? Like, does he? I don't know. Where does he live? Like, what is this guy's like backstory?
Yeah, like even if you want to hear about the origin of Santa, it's like Saint Nick, there's an animated movie that you could watch.
Literally, yeah.
Like multiple of
and
them.
now you got Violent Night,
That
pulling
too.
like the PG-13 twist on it, and like it's just a wild thing. And I guess like they kind of. Well, no, because even in like the Santa Claus movies, they kind of touch on like Jack Frost.
Yeah, they do.
And they do
all
like
winter
the,
things.
What is it? The Sandman?
Yeah,
Sleepy guy?
something like that. And then like
They don't really touch on the Easter Bunny at all.
nothing,
Do they?
nothing.
That's
And the
such-
Christmas movies even expand. You have like Heat Miser and Snow Miser and
Right,
all
right.
that. Frosty the Snowman, Rudolph, but
Yeah.
nothing with Easter.
I feel like I do feel like we're gonna get flack after this. We're probably forgetting one like major Easter movie that we're yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
What do you mean?
But yeah, I can't really think of much. But anyways, so the movie opens up with a narration, right? Of how we're about to find out how this guy, Fred O'Hare, O'Hare for Bunny Rabbit,
Foreshadow.
Easter Bunny, oh my God, he becomes the first ever human Easter Bunny.
Yeah.
So this is where, when you mention weird plot, this is where it's literally like over like a black screen or like over like generic shots, and you're like, what? What? A guy
Like
is
from
gonna
the get-go.
become the first human Easter Bunny? I guess like
yeah.
the only. This is the like origin story we're getting. What?
What's the problem?
Why? What's up? So we cut to, which I think is the funniest thing, that they live on Easter Island. We just mentioned that.
Right.
You have to get. That's the origin. That's where he lives.
Yeah, obviously.
Easter Island, obviously,
yeah.
with all the heads. I don't know what the.
And actually,
proper
that
name
was
is.
one I told you. It's so funny you said Easter Island, because actually I forgot like our childhood experiences with him. I wanted to become a drummer, and I also was obsessed with Easter Island after this because I didn't think it was real.
Right.
So I remember like when I first like I don't know, I probably went to my stepdad's office, and because I didn't have a computer or a phone, and I was like, "Hey, can you Google something for me?" And he's like, "What, little Matthew?" That's what he called me. And I was like, "Can you Google Easter Island?" And he's like, "Oh, you mean the actual islands?" I was like, "What?" And like all of a sudden,
Needs to go now.
like, what do you mean? Let's get on a plane. So there's Easter Island.
Yeah.
It sounds so cartoonish. That's like having like Christmas Island. Like there's no way that's real.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
How is this never been brought up when we talk about Easter?
I have no idea. I also don't know why, like, the real, like, what the origin of Easter Island, like, why is it called Easter
I
Island?
don't know why. No one. I think it's a mystery why the statues are there.
Yeah.
I think it's just been lost in time.
Yeah. But so that's interesting because they're EB and his dad. So the main character voiced by Russell Brand is EB,
Yes.
the initials of Easter Bunny.
Yeah.
Genius. So
Very on the
him
nose.
and his dad, who is the actual, like, the capital T, the Easter Bunny.
Yeah.
They talk about how EB is going to kind of like take over the throne, essentially. Like,
Yeah.
his dad's like about to retire,
Getting old.
and he's getting old. And so they're out on Easter Island, they're kind of establishing where they live, and they get into an elevator. But the elevator is one of the, I think it's pronounced Moai. Those are the actual head, like the statues.
The real life
head
ones.
Yeah. So they get into one of the Moai, and it's an elevator for the bunnies.
Yeah. It's
And
a
so they take
secret.
the elevator down. And yeah, so we find out that he's the Easter Bunny, and he has these little chicklets, like chicks
Yep.
for servants.
They're meant to be like elves. I'm
Right,
guessing.
right.
Yeah.
And they hand him this
Servants.
egg scepter.
I forgot about the egg
so you the egg scepter. So we understand, like, okay, this is like the guy.
Big man in charge right
Yeah.
here.
So EB sees the factory for the first time. This is like his take your son to work.
Yeah,
day
he's like a
kind
kid
of
at this
thing.
point. It's
Right.
not Russell Brand.
Right.
Yet.
Oh, yes, right.
Yeah.
That's true. I made a note where it was they make the candy in a real like Willy Wonka type of way.
They really
where It's
do.
this big like goofy factory, and they have like these like presses, and they like just press the chocolate together. But then when the little arms like come apart, it's like perfect.
It's glorious.
It's like no like residue.
Nope.
Like they don't have to clean up. Like everything is made so beautifully.
Which, by the way, is such a good start to this movie.
Mhm.
Like I was sitting there, and the first little narration's weird,
Yeah.
and then they have this cool factory, and it's the secret on Easter Island,
Right.
and you're like, I see how as a kid, I'd be like, this is awesome.
Right. The factory is very fleshed out.
Yeah.
It's vibrant. It's alive. Like it feels alive. It feels real. Like
And
it's incredible.
It's like the perfect, not to rag on Willy Wonka, but Willy Wonka,
well,
it's
you can do that. That's allowed. I'll allow it.
Willy Wonka is beautiful. The whole factory is beautiful, but there's like a hint of like scariness, which is there on purpose. But with this one, it's just like a kid's dream. Like every candy you want, they make it. It's right there. It's flawless, like you just said.
Yeah.
Like this is the best start to any kids movie I've ever seen.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Incredible.
Like fantastic. Like genuinely, actually, really good.
Right. So then, Carlos, which is the Easter Bunny, EB's dad. This is like his main, like his right hand.
Number 2.
Right.
Yeah, he's me.
He's a chick. He's
Yeah, you're the Easter Bunny. I'm Carlos.
Did we ever establish what the dad's name is? Was it ever like spoken, or was he just like, oh, hey, Dad? Hey,
I think it's called him Dad. I think it's called him the Easter Bunny. Yeah,
I don't really know.
I don't know either.
But anyways, so he's kind of introduced in like an immediate negative way.
Yeah,
Because EB goes to like steal some of the candy. He's like, oh, what's this? Let me try some.
he's chomping.
Yeah. And then Carlos basically like swats his hand and he's like, no, you are not allowed to do this. Like he's like, absolutely not.
We only make, we do not
basically-
eat.
Exactly. This is my factory. Don't touch this. And so immediately you're like, ooh, there's something up with this Carlos guy or this Carlos chick.
Keep an eye on Carlos chick.
So the dad says that mistakes are like not okay. He's very like efficiency is key.
Being the Easter Bunny is no joke.
Exactly. And Carlos, you find out, is very upset about EB's life of privilege.
Yeah.
And he's upset that, you know, he's a bunny and he has this privilege. He's the Easter Bunny's kid. And there's a clear like dichotomy of bunnies versus chicks.
Yep.
Like there is a clear like hierarchy.
It's a bit strange.
It's very strange to think about because it almost seems like are these chicks getting paid?
Exactly.
And like if so, like how? Like again, watching it as an adult, you're like, what's going on here?
Yeah, as a kid, it's just like, yeah, the chicks are evil, whatever.
Right.
But then you're right. It's like this. Oh, are the bunnies kind of the bad guys?
It's
like,
just nepotism.
It's just straight up nepotism for millions of years.
Yeah, and the Carlos is over it. He's like, it's my
like
time.
Hey, I've been here forever.
Yeah,
worked, for no pay. I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take over, which is fair.
Yeah,
I'm
so
kind
fair.
of on Carlos' side a little bit.
A little bit. It's kind of like the whole Peter Pan, Captain Hook thing, where you rewatch that as an adult and you're like, dude, Captain Hook was the good guy.
He was correct.
He was absolutely in the right.
Yep.
And Peter Pan is like the worst human being on the planet. He's a menace. he's a misogynist. Like it's awful.
That's exactly what Hop is.
Yeah. Hop is just Peter Pan. So then we cut to the real world.
Yeah,
boom, we're in Hollywood. We're in Hollywood, baby. This is it's the lights, it's the action, it's the where we want to be.
It's David Hasselhoff, baby.
It's David Hasselhoff. It's all of the above. So, we kind of see the chick and bunny dynamic kind of explored further because we cut to this house and it's this little kid and he wakes up on Easter morning. It's not really established as Easter morning, but we kind of figure it out. It's implied. We kind of figure it out because he looks out his window and he sees essentially Santa's sleigh, but it's the Easter Bunny sleigh.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it not shaped in the form of an egg?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Easter Bunny, which is EB's dad, is just like on Dash or on Dash, but it's all chicks.
It's all the chicks.
And there's like hundreds
60 of them. Yeah, there's a lot.
So many of them. But so they're like flying and it's like magic dust and they're like kind of floating down.
Yeah.
And they land and they leave the little, he scurries around, hides the eggs, and he puts a little basket out.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, this is where, by the way, watching it now, this is where I was like, uh-oh. Because again, that beginning is so good, excluding the narration.
Right.
And you get to this, and again, the idea of doing Easter is so cool. It's never been done that we know of.
Yeah.
Now it's like you could really get creative with it.
Right.
And I was like, oh, it's just literally a copy and paste of Santa. You have the sleigh, the animals riding the sleigh.
They're
They're
literally elves and reindeer at the same time.
Like they could even get a different animal in here. Like
they were like, what's Easter other than this is going back to the whole origin story. Like, what is Easter other than eggs, chocolate, bunnies, and chicks?
Exactly.
Nothing. So they have to reuse them for the reindeer and the elf slaves.
It's just like the elf slaves. It's so obvious in the first 7 minutes that they already ran out of ideas.
Yeah.
The Easter Island thing, they're like, this is the best we got. They're like, well, how do they get to the homes? Uh-oh.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet they came up with that opening couple minutes.
That's how they pitched this movie.
Yep.
Was that opening?
And then they put all of their $63 million budget into that. And then after that, they were like, what do we do now?
What about Santa? Like, have you ever, okay, genuine question. Have you ever woken up on Easter morning and even realized it was Easter?
I think maybe once, because my parents were like essentially like, you gotta go to bed, wink, wink. The Easter Bunny's coming tomorrow, wink, wink. Which was really cool because it was like a nice childhood that I had where it was like, hey, something really fun's gonna happen tomorrow.
That's true.
And they're, hyping it up. But other than that, it was never like an Easter Eve or like, there was never anything of like, anything more than like waking up and being like, oh, cool, an Easter basket.
That's it.
Let's go to church.
See, my morning was I'd wake up and be like, okay, it's Thursday. And then I'd come downstairs.
Is that what you thought as a kid?
Yeah. Oh, today's Thursday.
I guess it's Thursday. You're just like depressed.
Another
as a young
Thursday
child.
for me.
Yeah.
So.
Putting on like your slacks and button down and going to work.
Getting
with, like your
briefcase.
briefcase.
Black coffee.
Yeah.
Just a Thursday.
Getting your dry cereal or like oatmeal.
No milk. Special K.
Yeah.
8 years old.
Yeah.
My brother's having Fruit Loops. Like, yeah, middle school. So anyway, I'm like, Thursday. So I'd go down, and then there would be like an Easter basket. I'm like, oh yeah, it's Easter. Thanks. Mm. That's it. That's the only Easter celebration.
Easter Bunny.
Yeah, thanks, dog. Appreciate
I'll eat
it.
a chocolate version of you.
Which is kind of weird if you think about it.
Santa never comes down the chimney and leaves like a cookie version of himself.
To be fair, I've had a chocolate Santa.
Okay, well, never mind. My point has been immediately.
That's
disproven.
right.
Anyways, so we cut to. Well, okay, so the kid goes down outside and he sees the chocolate and he like looks at this golden wrapped bunny.
Yeah. Now, they don't realize that he was like spying.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they leave.
Yeah.
And he comes down and he's like, "Oh my gosh, this is
proof.
I believe in magic. I believe in the Easter Bunny."
Yeah.
Boom. Black screen. Title card. Cut to 20 years later.
Yeah. This is where it gets worse.
Yeah. So Fred, we find out that the kid in the last scene, his name's Fred. So that's Fred O'Hare.
Mm-hmm.
Main character. He's a burnout. Essentially has an intervention for him at his family dinner. This is like literally the first scene out of the 20 years later card.
It is. Now, it's also kind of implied that once a week, his family get together and they go over everything that's going on in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where they are in life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, every Thursday, another Thursday for me.
Right.
Every Thursday they get together and they know, what's his name? Fred. They're like, Fred, deadbeat over there. Let's pick on him for a second. Fred, what have you been doing? Oh, nothing. Shocker.
Yeah. And all the other siblings are like, well, and like adjusting their tie. I've been doing this.
Oh, dude, how do you have something new every week?
His sister is Kaylee Kuko.
Yeah.
Who's in the Big Bang Theory, which I didn't know she was even in this.
That's how she got her start?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
What?
Isn't that crazy?
When she came on screen, I was like, no way.
And the dad is also kind of a relatively big actor.
I did notice that. I couldn't figure out who it was.
He's a number of, there's a couple actors out there, and you'll know exactly what I mean when I say this, where you know them, but for the life of you don't know why.
Yeah.
They're just in everything.
They're in literally everything.
The dad in
every
Hop is
supporting dad.
Yep. It's
him. Yeah.
I think he literally plays the dad in Chuck, I believe. Or
one with Zachary Levi?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think he's in that, but
dang.
He's just, I was like, oh, I know him. That's Mr. Hop.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's basically implied that it's Fred, his like biological sister, and then they have an adopted like younger, young sister, like probably 7 or 8.
He's like starring in a
10,
play
whatever.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's also killing it.
So and then it's also implied that the parents adopted the little girl because Fred is such a failure.
Yeah.
Like they were like, we adopted this girl because you stink and we hate you.
Pretty much.
And she is like this incredible, this actress, and like she's doing all these great things.
Very smart.
Right.
You know?
And Fred is like, what, 26?
I would say, because it was
20 years later, and then plus whatever age he was.
Exactly.
And he like he's like not doing anything in Hollywood.
Nothing. Lives with his parents, I believe. 27 years old and he lives with his parents.
Yep. So, all right, cut to back to Easter Island. E.B. is about to be crowned the Easter Bunny in front of thousands.
Yeah.
Right? And instead of like preparing, he is just going at it on the drums. He's going ham.
Yeah.
And oh my God, it's incredible. Like this is the first scene. And again, this is like a vivid memory I have, other than the dancing to the credits part, in the theater, of me watching this and being like, this is incredible.
This is rad.
I love it.
Yeah.
It brought me so much life. And there's kind of a parallel between Fred and E.B. Because E.B. kind of says like how he's not what his dad wants him to be, and he's not perfect, and he kind of stresses that.
Yeah.
And it's like this weird like parallel. I think they're trying to,
they
like,
go
cut
hand in
between-
hand.
right?
You know.
So they're essentially the same, just in their own universes.
Yes.
So EB doesn't want to be the Easter Bunny. Instead, he wants to essentially travel the world and play drums. But I'm laughing because the globe that he points to is egg-shaped.
As an egg.
And it's just so... It's one of those things where they just can't escape
They
the
can't
like
help themselves.
egg-shaped things.
Now, I will say again, I know I've said this before, but this is like my biggest takeaway with almost every scene of this movie is that he's playing drums. And he's like, I want to go to Hollywood and play drums. Yeah. And I'm like, listen, you had the chance to make an Easter movie. This is what we're getting?
Yeah.
What happened? Why is it this? Why is it this story?
Yeah. I'll say this. When I was watching it, I thought that I was gonna not enjoy it.
Okay.
And then I finished it and I was like, that actually was pretty good.
Oh.
And then now that we're talking about it, I think I'm going back to my original thing because it like really doesn't, I don't know why. It's so cute and I love it, but it's also like objectively, in my opinion, it kind of stinks.
It's not great.
It's not good. So anyways, his dad says, he kind of argues back and he's like, listen, as an Easter Bunny, you can travel the world. Mm-hmm. You can travel the world in one night.
Yeah.
Santa and
style.
then EB hits him back with, but not China. And we cut to this like random insert of the Easter Bunny like getting like kicked out of this like home in China. And it's like the most questionable stereotype.
It's so bad.
It's so not cool. And as soon as I immediately wrote it down because I was like, no
way.
No. 2011 Illumination. What did you do?
Because this happened, by the way, when I was watching the movie and this scene came on, I had my door open.
Yeah.
And the second it was in, I'm like, oh, no. And I closed and locked my door.
Because you got the accent. It's just everything
it's
is
so bad. A whole scene.
It's interesting. But so then they get into this whole fight, and then he's like, his dad's like, all right, you got to come get crowned. And EB is like, not today. And he jumps through the quote unquote rabbit hole. That's funny because it's a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And he gets to Hollywood randomly. He pops
just
out.
makes it.
Yeah. And what do you know? Fred lives in Hollywood.
Wait a minute. Hang on. Hold the phone. Hang on. He goes through the rabbit hole and gets to Hollywood. Remember, he appears out of a hole at the Hollywood sign.
Yeah.
So it's kind of implied, like, hey, they can teleport anywhere because they're Easter bunnies. Then why the sleigh?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. How do they get around the world? Which one is it?
Now that you mentioned that, I have no idea.
This movie's insane.
So Fred gets an interview from his sister at this video game place.
Yeah.
And he says that he promises his sister that he's going to get his act together in 2 weeks' time.
In time for Easter.
In time for Easter.
Yeah, that's the deadline.
Big family event. So he's going to get his act together.
Big family. We all celebrate it.
So she gives him the keys to her boss's house because he has nowhere to stay because he lives in his car, which, what we said earlier, I forgot he lives in his car.
Yeah, he's
not in the family
Oh, yeah,
home.
that's true. He does live in his car. I'm sorry.
Which I'm now curious how long he's lived in his car for.
The last 20 years.
Yeah, since he was 6, they were just like, you don't have a job?
You're out.
And yeah, and then we just keep cutting back to kind of the life of EB and the life of Fred, right, like leading up to when they meet.
They meet, yeah.
Right. So EB tries to get into the Playboy Mansion, which
I forgot about that.
Is incredible.
Yeah.
And there's like a montage of him walking through Hollywood trying to find a place to stay. And that was it Every Rose Has Its Thorn was the song?
It was.
Which was so I was cackling. I was cackling. And then I don't know if it like the music cuts off when this happened or it's like right after, but Fred hits EB with his car.
Yeah, right. Just coming up to the house.
Smacks him.
Yeah.
Essentially, he gets knocked over.
Yep.
Seems like it's dead. Fred gets out. He's freaking out. He's like, oh my God, I hit this bunny. And then EB speaks.
Yeah, he speaks English.
And he speaks full-blown English. And Fred is losing it.
Yeah.
But then he finally agrees to let him stay in the garage of the boss's house that he's staying.
Yeah. Because EB kind of plays it up like, you ran me over my car, you're going to kick me out. Really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, cut back to, Easter Island. The Easter Bunny finds out that his son is gone, and Carlos kind of brushes it off, and he's like, someone else could take over.
Exactly. Like, if you need help.
But Mr. Easter Bunny Man sends out what they call the pink berets.
You don't mess with them, man.
3 female bunnies with pink berets, and they're like essentially ninjas.
Yes. Now, before we move on from the pink berets, just real quick with that Carlos and Easter Bunny scene. It's another one of those where it kind of doubles down on this is kind of questionable. Of Carlos comes up to me, he's like, hey, if you need help, I've been here like for years, I can do it. And my memory is that the Easter Bunny straight up laughs in his face. He's like, hey, thanks for lightening me up, buddy. That was a good joke.
Pretty much.
I think he's like, a chick can never be the Easter Bunny.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that's pretty much what they establish. Yeah. He's like, you guys are nothing. He spits on him.
He smacks him and walks out. Hits him with the cane.
Exactly. But I don't know if you picked up on this, but the Pink Berets have this dope theme song.
They honestly do.
And it's like written for the thing, and it like says Pink Berets like
it's
like
one
they're
of the
on the
coolest
case.
Parts of this whole movie.
Yeah, it's the coolest like little montage thing ever. I like felt so I like wanted to run a marathon after that. I was like, I feel so pumped up. Yeah, exactly. But so Fred is attacked by these scary dogs at the house. Right? Yeah. And then he comes back in after that, and he finds that EB kind of destroys the like forbidden master bedroom upstairs.
Yeah.
Which even Fred is not supposed to be up there.
Yeah, Deadbeat Fred.
Yeah, Deadbeat Fred, which is an awesome name for him.
Thank you.
Is not allowed to be up there. And Kaylee Kuko's character, I could not remember her name. But the sister is also not allowed to be up there. Like no one is allowed up there.
Yeah, especially Deadbeat Fred.
Right.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Really. And EBS destroyed it.
It wrecked it.
It's ruined.
Like he leaves like the tub on and it's overfilling with bubbles. There's Doritos everywhere.
Right.
And he's playing Rock Band drums.
Right. Which is awesome.
Which is amazing.
And so Fred is, and honestly, rightfully so, scoops him up. He's like, you're going to the wild, back to where you're.
Which is what I would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally acceptable. But then out of desperation, because the Pink Berets are after him, EB pleads with him and essentially is like, dude, I am the Easter Bunny.
Yeah.
Please don't leave me because I can change your life. And then it sparks the thing in Fred's brain.
His memory.
That has carried him for the past 20 years.
Deadbeat Fred.
Deadbeat Fred has believed one thing, that the Easter Bunny is real. And no one has believed him.
Nope.
And I wonder if that's why he doesn't have a job. Because he's like, the Easter Bunny's real. And they're like, you're fired. Get out.
Yeah, get out. What are you talking about? I saw him, man.
But so then he kind of takes him back. And he brings him to his interview. He's like, listen, I got an interview. You got to stick with me. You're staying in the car. But the Pink Berets are there for EB.
Uh-oh.
Not good.
Pink Berets.
Pink Berets. So EB wreaks havoc. And then he winds up playing drums with this old like group of blind men who are a band.
Yes.
And I guess their drummer didn't show up for whatever reason, or he left or something.
So EB takes over.
And they kind of call him out. They're like, listen, we know that you're a bunny. And he's like, how? And they're like, don't worry about it. Like,
I think
they
it's
never
implied
really,
they're not blind? Like,
I guess
don't know.
so, but also like it's very heavily implied that they are blind.
Yes.
Because they have no reaction when he comes in and just starts going.
Nothing.
But I don't know. But so they suggest that he goes to try out for this thing called Hoff-Nose Talent.
Yes.
Which is David Hasselhoff.
Which, from my understanding of it, it's still not fully explained, but you kind of get the gist. Right. It's basically like American Idol.
Yeah.
There's only one judge, and it's David Hasselhoff.
Exactly.
Which I don't know how that hasn't been made in real life yet.
Right. It's incredible. So Carlos, back on Easter Island, keeps pushing to be the Easter Bunny, and he keeps getting brushed off.
Which, again, I feel bad for him.
And then we come back, and you have Fred's sister, Kaylee Kuko. She comes over, and basically Deadbeat Fred kind of has to cover up for EB.
Yeah,
and his
house is just a mess. Yeah.
And so he does it, and there's like this whole scene with it. It doesn't really matter. Nothing's really implied there other than like, oh, like nothing happens there.
No.
Like nothing pushes us.
That's where if you're like, now that we're going over the plot, if you're sitting here listening to this thinking like, hey, this is starting to sound a bit redundant.
Right.
It is.
It really does.
Like,
it just keep cutting back, and it's the same scenes over and over.
Yeah.
But so Fred takes EB to the Hoff-Nose Talent auditions, and Hasselhoff, loves with a capital L, EB.
He's like willing to give his life to this bunny.
And so after the audition, obviously goes well. The Pink Berets pretty much are like they're very close to finding EB, and he kind of tells Fred the truth that he ran away from home.
Yeah, he's not really. He's about to be one, but he's not actually the Easter Bunny.
Yeah, he's not actually the Easter Bunny, but whatever. So he finds out.
Complicated, this movie.
Yeah, and so then they go to Fred's sister's play.
Right.
And so EB thinks that the Pink Berets are there for him.
Yeah.
And he runs onto the stage, and turns out it was just a couple of the actors in the back of the room with a scary light on them.
Doesn't that sound so funny?
Right. So funny. I was cackling. And so he runs on stage, and Fred also runs on stage. He's like, no, like this I gotta say.
He interrupts the whole play.
Oh
no.
And he puts EB on his hand, and he pretends like it's ventriloquism.
Yeah, that's the way that they explain the bunny speaking.
They break into song and dance.
Yeah. You don't do that in real life?
Maybe like 5 or 6 times, but not like consistently.
A week.
Yeah. And they break into song and dance, and they play I Want Candy.
Yes.
They sing it, they dance, they do all that thing. And it's a smash hit immediately. Everyone forgets that they interrupted this play. They don't care at all. It's a standing ovation. They love it.
Which, by the way, so the dad is very upset. He's like, listen, you interrupted my kid's performance. Super disappointed.
Yeah.
But it's only the dad that's upset.
Right.
Which is insane because everybody in that audience would be
the younger
parents.
sister hates him.
Well, that too.
But other than that,
if I was a parent, I was at my kid's play, and some dude runs on stage and starts singing "I Want Candy," I'd be like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I do want candy. How do you know?
Yeah. But yeah, so Fred says that basically he can be the new Easter Bunny because he's like, I need to do something.
It's a grand idea.
I need something. And EB says no. And then back on Easter Island, Carlos rallies the rest of the chicks to revolt against the bunnies and become the first ever Easter chick.
Yeah, here we go.
This is it.
Again, I'm rooting for. I'm Team Carlos.
So there's a Fred training montage, which I think is so funny, to become the Easter Bunny because eventually they're like, let's work together. We're gonna get you to Easter Bunny
AB's
status.
like, how could I say no to your dreams? You gave me to this David Hasselhoff thing.
Right.
I'll hook you up.
Right. And intercut with Carlos training to destroy everyone as well.
Yes.
So it's this big montage. And then the Pink Berets show up at the house. They put Fred to sleep. They knock him out with like the blow darts or whatever. And
almost kill him.
Right. And EB goes into the limo, basically to Hasselhoff's thing.
Yep.
After faking his own death. Like he evades death and he goes and goes to Hasselhoff.
This movie's insane.
Right. So they bring Fred to Easter Island, accusing him of murdering EB.
Yeah, they're gonna kill him.
That's it.
Like you murdered the Easter Bunny.
And Carlos captures all of the bunnies immediatly.
Yep.
Like it takes no time.
Revolution takes 2 seconds. Yeah, he won.
Takes 2 seconds. And he freezes the Pink Berets with chocolate. So so the ninjas, the bodyguards, gone. He seizes the Easter Bunny and he takes his scepter.
Yeah,
Yep, it's getting bad. So EB basically he feels bad, and Hasselhoff, he has a conversation with David Hasselhoff. And Hasselhoff tells him to go save his friend.
The turning point of the movie.
He's like, listen, you gotta go.
He's your boy.
And now, am I wrong to say that Hasselhoff was also in the SpongeBob movie?
I believe so, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
That would be insane. I'm pretty sure that it was Hasselhoff. That would be insane because it was the same director and it was the same essentially like he was just there to be David Hasselhoff for like 3 seconds and like give a word of inspiration and then he's gone forever.
Why is this kind of becoming like a new trope in movies?
Yeah.
David Hasselhoff.
Right, but it's the same director.
And hang on. He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
Right. So that's awesome that this director had such a close relationship with David Hasselhoff that he was like, can you come back and do the same exact thing?
Without hesitation. Sure.
Yeah. But, and you're going to interact with characters that aren't there again?
It's like the same exact,
same exact
dialogue.
Thing. It's awesome. But yeah, so and then Russell Brand in person. So he's the voice of EB, but then he talks to himself because he comes in as a cameo.
Yeah, he makes a cameo.
As a PA.
Which I like that.
He's the kind of guy, he's the kind of guy that I only remember in roles like this. Like I couldn't tell you if he like has led a movie ever.
I don't know. I just know him because he's friends with Noel Gallagher.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, they're like really good friends, yeah.
But yeah, so then EB comes back to Easter Island, gets captured by Carlos and his minions. Not the actual minions,
not the Illumination minions.
please. And
They're too good for this
eventually Fred, the Easter Bunny, and EB escape. So they kind of chew through. They're tied up with licorice. And then they kind of get out. Carlos turns into a bunny, kind of
half bunny,
because he grows the ears and he gets the teeth.
Yeah,
and like the little tail.
Yeah.
Yep.
Excuse me.
And he kind of knocks out EB to get to the Easter sleigh.
Yes,
right?
The Big Bad Santa Easter sleigh.
The Easter sleigh,
not the Santa sleigh.
Yeah, I like the Easter sleigh. I think that we're trademarking that. So
Another
Phil,
t-shirt.
which is one of the chicks, with a pretty bad dancing problem. So throughout the movie, he's kind of irrelevant. But anytime music comes on, this guy's dancing.
He can't help himself. It's almost like a disorder.
He's leading the takeoff, so he has like the little takeoff batons.
Yeah,
and like for the sleigh, the Easter sleigh, and
hashtag Easter sleigh.
And EB hashtag Easter sleigh. And EB plays the drums to get him to kind of misguide the sleigh, causing it to crash.
Yeah, he knows.
And EB swipes the scepter back.
Yep.
EB and his dad apologize to each other, yada, yada, yada. Fred and EB are pronounced co-Easter bunnies.
Yep.
Which is awesome.
Good for them.
And then at an Easter brunch kind of later, so happily ever after, basically.
Yeah.
And then at Easter brunch, Fred's family kind of makes fun of Fred's outfit and his job. And then they immediately take it back because they see the sleigh and then he flies
away.
He flies away.
Talking bunny.
But it's almost comical how quickly they're like the scene starts and 30 seconds later, like it starts and they're like, we hate you. You look goofy. Like your job is stupid. And then they see the sleigh and they automatically believe him.
We love you.
Immediately they're like, oh my God, you're the Easter bunny. You're the Easter bunny man.
Easter bunny man.
Easter bunny man.
Yeah, and it's just crazy. In 2 seconds.
But so, and then we find out that Carlos is essentially Rudolph now.
Yes.
So he's like the head. He guides the sleigh.
Sleigh.
And that's it. That's the end of the movie. They fly off, the end. And then the credit scene, my favorite part. They sing I Want Candy.
Again.
They're dancing.
Yep.
It's the best. So that's the movie.
Oh, you forgot something?
Did I miss something?
There's an end credit scene.
I missed that.
You missed the
I
end credit
turned
scene?
the movie off during the credits.
Because I checked. Because I remember there being something at the end.
Yeah.
So the end credit scene, it's so bad. They go back to China. They
No
double
way.
down on the China scene.
Oh, boy.
And it's Fred giving the same lady an Easter basket.
Yeah.
But now the basket's all like stereotypical Chinese things.
Oh, my God.
And she loves it.
That's insane.
He's like, see, all you needed was a human touch.
Oh.
And then
What?
And then it ends.
That's wild.
I was stunned.
I didn't even know they did post-credit scenes in those movies.
They double down on it.
That's wild. Well, anyways, final thoughts. That's insane.
Yeah. Also, watching this now that we're 21, I really struggled. Like way more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
Like again, it took me 3.5 hours to get through. Even the big final act, I was doing my laundry because I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
See, I really struggled with this movie. This is probably my worst watch of the 3.
For me, best watch of the 3.
Really?
I loved it. Like, because I thought it was so
Wow.
fun, but then like talking about it from like an objective like filmmaking standpoint, it was like not great.
No,
It
not
wasn't
at all.
great at all. But like the actual like dissection of like watching the film beat by beat, I didn't mind it. I actually thought it was pretty cool.
But no, I was very hurting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then kind of like in taking notes, I was like, oh, this actually does stink.
Yeah,
Like
this
it is
really
a
bad.
big stinker. Like it's a smelly film.
Yes.
But so yeah, watching it back, it doesn't really hold up, but I don't know. So anyways,
are you a Hop supporter?
no,
No.
I wouldn't say so. I think it was just that viewing.
No, let me ask you, would you ever watch it again?
Probably not.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyways, so thank you for tuning in. This has been I Can't Believe This Got Greenlit. Hey guys, it's Nick.
It's Pelton.
And we just wanted to say that the recording got cut off. So we're basically just here to say thank you for listening, as always. Tune in next week for Cat in the Hat.
Oh, goody.
Very, very excited about that episode. It's a banger. And yeah, as always, I've been Nick.
I've been Pelton.
And one final thought about Hop. I can't believe this got greenlit. All right, thank you all for tuning in. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.